Also, the way they work that whammy bar, and then that the way they look cheekily at us, just chef's kiss. Yeah, charmed me out of my britches. I'm glad I was seated for this one.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Audiophiles. Yeah. My name is John. His name is Andy. White man came across the sea. He brought us pain and misery. He killed our tribes. He killed our creed. He took our game for his own need. More on that another time. But first, we have a track to listen to today because it's Friday. Yes, it is. Selected by one of our lovely viewers. In this case, it is Ian Elmer, 7903, except no substitute. Ian dropped a comment on the Incubus episode. Which one? There's done a few. Pardon me. And he has suggested that we listen to a track by Descartes à Kant. Bless you. And the track is After Destruction, live on KEXP, or some combination thereof. Are you familiar with Descartes et Kant?
No, I am not. It's an interesting name, clearly.
Me neither. Or if you were Bill and Ted, it would be Descartes et Kant.
Well, luckily I'm
Like,
neither of those
like
two.
Socrates,
Socrates, yeah. He's
I
a good one.
happened to have to write that in a comment today, and it just stuck with me. Socrates. Yeah. It's rock on, dude. Socrates.
Sounds
Oh,
like
yeah.
a breath saver or something. Do you have a Socrates on you? Thanks.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, no, I'm flying completely blind on this. I'm already intrigued by the both the name of the band and the name of the song for that matter, and it's KEXP. So, I'm excited to see what they have in store for me. So I'll go off, check this suggestion by Ian out, and let y'all know what I've made of it.
Godspeed.
Nice, like that beat. I'm already, before she gets too into this, I'm already charmed by this whole aesthetic, this kind of looking at the future through a retro lens. You know what I mean? Like this sort of like what did the people in the 1960s envision the future look like? And it's this. So yeah, this is a lot of fun. The whole synchronized aspect of it too, on top of just the interesting aesthetic, is something that's so like 80s. Not since then have I seen bands like that are quite like this, and aren't taking themselves so seriously, or I assume so, you know what I mean, not taking themselves so seriously and just having fun with it, and also creating the sort of visual art to couple with the obvious auditory art that is music. But it's so much more than that, and these guys are leaning into it, and I can really appreciate that. All right, let's see where we go. I like this. Oh. Nice. Ooh, I'm going to take that back because I want to hear that descending bit. I have to say, her voice is perfect for this new wave sound. But also got this angst in there as well, which is an interesting dynamic and one that I wasn't expecting. But it's definitely working, and it's just angsty enough that it isn't over the top, and it really does. I mean, the new wave aspect is really the more predominant of the two sounds that she's got going on. She's dripping with charisma. This one, she knows she's commanding the camera, and excellent showmanship, and the music sounds great, and so does her voice. I'm really, really charmed by her, and the rhythm section is doing a really great job, and I'm digging the harmonies by the two guitarists. So, let's take this back just a little bit because I want to see how that transitions. There's drums. Ooh. This is great. Oh my god. Oh. That was fabulous. God, she's really something else, this one. She's very charming. Both of them were great in that, but that knowing look back at the camera was, it. Yeah. Let's listen to that again. The dueling guitar sounded really awesome, too. Okay. Nice. Ooh. It's gotta be the bassist, right? Yeah. Nice drums. Ooh, gritty. Nice. Ooh. She's hilarious. Yeah. I have instantly been wooed by this performance and by this lead singer. All of those band members, they did a fabulous job. That bass part toward the end, that kind of was like the outro with that sludgy. At the beginning I said, "Oh, it's mostly new wave with this little bit of angst," but as it kind of unfolded, you've got like punk elements and this almost sludgy kind of element in there as well. So it's more than just than meets the eye, steal a line from the Transformers. Uh, this is fabulous. I loved this performance. I love her stage presence and command is excellent. They're all really great musicians. They've got some really great harmonies going on there. I love the way the guitars work together. I love the way the rhythm section worked together, and I love the way that all of them could come together. Shit, let's do another 80s cartoon reference, like Voltron, and make this superpower when they combine forces. Yeah, this is really, really good stuff. Hats off to KEXP. Hats off to Ian for offering this up. Perhaps even John, if he's the one that went out to select this link. Although, if it's KEXP, it's almost a no brainer. But nonetheless, this was all the stars aligned for this to be a really great listening and viewing experience. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. I can't wait to learn more about these guys. I have to imagine, I don't want to be too influenced by the intro graphic, but they definitely seemed like a Mexican band, which makes them that much more intriguing to me. And I'd really love to hear more from them. But before I can do that, I need to learn more about them. And hopefully John's got all those answers on the other side. Let's get back to him.
Zainab Badawi is back. So you've had a listen to After Destruction live on KEXP by Descartes et Kant, as recommended by Ian Elmer, 7903. What do you reckon?
Well, do I have a certain glow about me, John? Because
that was just the background radiation, but no, go on.
No, I think PJ's got some. I think '90s PJ's got some competition. If I'm being completely candid with you here on this one, if you know, you know. So the video begins with some earnest hi-hat driven. Well, first of all, I saw the luchador mask and instantly thought of you because I'm like, John, I know there's two things that he loves about Mexican culture: a mariachi band that he has to have at his funeral, and the man wants a luchador mask. He wants to wear a luchador mask. So
Definitely.
I saw that. I was like, oh, that's John. And then obviously the not fooled like some people I know. I know it's not the intro music to either KEXP or Audio Tree. This is actually the drums to the song.
Sort of idiots would think that.
So that kicks off. I'm like, all right, before it even, obviously the graphics are pretty cool, but before I even see the cast of characters, the beats already got me kind of like, okay. And it's not long. And then all of a sudden, it pans to the band. And it's soon accompanied by this like synchronized performance of the guitarist and the bassist as they kind of inject a heavy dose of choppy fuzz into the soundscape, looking like three sentient Roombas. Do you guys have Roombas over there? Like the automated Hoovers that just go around, the little circular things that go around the house. Well, sometimes when they run into things where they can't move, they just go back and forth and back like confused robots. That's what these folks on performing for KEXP reminded me of. They were like glitching out with no direction to go, but it was very funny and campy. So take the funny and quirky performance out of the equation, and we're still left with this energetic, kinetic movement to the track that I really found engaging. And I must admit, though, that the performance does add to the overall, experience. This retro perspective of the future aesthetic that they have going on. It's like what I think we've talked about this oddly recently, but what's funny is like going back to the 60s and in seeing their interpretation of what the future looks like, and it all has that same kind of aesthetic to it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it really strongly reminded me of Devo.
Without a doubt, Devo. Yes.
Yeah. Is it their Freedom of Choice album where they got the red sort of plant pot things on and all that, and they're doing all that sort of, and it's that cod futuristic, but could easily be dress rehearsal for a nativity play or something. It's that, it's just really hard. A bit amateurish, but still quite charming as well.
Yeah, and add not only is it the like odd future, like the odd take on what the future is from like you would get from Devo, but also how everything's synchronized or they're all working together to create a performance and not just play their instruments. And they had this has that as well. So at one point I'm like, this is only I haven't seen this kind of performance since the 80s. This idea of making it performative as well as a musical experience, while also bringing in this odd aesthetic that is unique to them. So it was just, I think we're on the same page for sure here. Um, so anyway, I don't. Did you pick this video or did Ian offer this one up specifically?
Can't remember.
To be
I
fair,
mean, he definitely picked the song, but I don't remember if he specified the KXP or not. I
okay, because
think
I
he
was just
might have
trying to
done.
give.
I think he might have done because it's a really
Uh,
good performance.
it is, and that's what I was going to do. I was going to give credit across the board to KEXP for filming a great studio performance of this song, for the band for pulling this off and providing us multiple things to enjoy. To Ian selecting the song itself, to you
Yeah.
even if you had went out and spotted this one and been like, yeah, this has to be
Uh,
the one. It was that the stars aligned on this one because it was a great song, great performance, great. It was shot and mixed really well, so I loved it all. It was really really great. So and the other thing is some people might call it gimmicky or be turned off by that, but music is art. And it shouldn't just be limited to this auditory medium. Like you can have more than that, and if you can, you should. So I really enjoyed that they were fully bought in to this, the band. The singer begins to deliver this opening line, and there seems to be an interesting effect, like in this interesting effect on her voice a bit, and it lends itself to the sound of the band. It has this sort of new wave with a little bit of angst as well, but the way it sounds is new wave. The content and some of her delivery a bit is a bit angsty, and I thought that was an interesting dynamic as well. But her voice and the music are hand in glove. It sounds great. She proclaims, "We are uncertainty, searching for certainty," and adds, if the world wants to break, I'll scream." And she really carries out scream as the stanza like sort of resolves. Back into the choppy, fuzzy, waters we go. And the lead singer then plays this few note little run on her guitar. And while it's nothing fancy at all, it has this very interesting synth like sound to it, which I found kind of charming. I don't know if I'm looking for excuses to be charmed by this woman at this point because she's got me in every single other way. But the way the
It's
guitars
got
project. Go
sorry,
ahead.
but just because you're just skirting around it, but she has got huge charisma. I mean,
Yes.
really has. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
and
Without
it's
without
not in
question.
a kind of predictable traditional way. She's not some sort of pretty girl or whatever, or someone who's definitely trying to sort of rock out, whatever. She's definitely quirky and a bit, of a one-off, but she just has this something about her as
She
well.
does, without question. And it kept there was examples of it peppered throughout this that would continue to unfold as the video did as well. So yeah, I was yeah, she got me. So then we get treated to another verse, and again it ends with that same repeated "if the world" bit. And just before she extends that scream line, again the drummer does this like these nice tom rolls across, which he's been doing a great job on the drums. I mean, nothing mind blowing, but he's really keeping everything together, and the intermittent switch off between cymbal work and tom work is just keeping everything chugging right along. So I'm really enjoying his work as well. And this is followed by an interesting descending motif where the singer repeats the line, "There will be creation after destruction, you'll see." And I should note that the two guitarists have been harmonizing a lot throughout the song to this point, but it really shines while they vocalize that sort of long E sound during this portion. It sounds fabulous. We get another quick descending motif and a quick clutch of the cymbal by the drummer to dampen and kill any of the resonance. Um, which usually is a calling card for like an abrupt cutout or a musical transition. In this case, it is in fact a musical transition to a new portion of the song, and boy, it's an interesting one. We get these dual synth toned guitars playing lead motifs with both musicians turned and facing one another, like some sort of showdown at the OK Corral. But if the OK Corral is on like Tatooine or what is it? Trafalgar or whatever from the Slaughterhouse 5. Uh, so the record, so for the record, these women can harmonize and with their voices and their instruments, and it's a lot of talent. And like, come on, man, the lead singer is this is one of the peak moments of her charm too. Like the knowing look back at the camera, and then the both of them riding the picks up the neck. It's just awesome, awesome stuff. Um, Also the way they work that whammy bar, and then that the way they look cheekily at us, just chef's kiss. Yeah, charmed me out of my britches. I'm glad I was seated for this one. So after the slide down the neck of the guitar, the song transitions into some digital kind of chicanery. But at first, I don't see where it's coming from, but I do recall having seen like a keyboard posted in front of the bassist. So I'm already thinking, okay, this is what we're gonna get. And then sure enough, you get sort of that long view from the lead singer down, and you can see him kind of working it in the distance, and it sounds absolutely fabulous. She hits this elongated scream portion of the stanza, and then they hit that descending motif again as she repeats the lyrics that contain the titular line. There'll be creation after destruction. The last of which is punctuated by an interesting version of "You'll see." So this shifts into a gritty, really bass heavy portion, where things kind of slow down, like boots or space boots that are covered in mud. It's got this kind of sludgy kind of feel to it. Um, and yeah, they as they have been throughout the song, the guitarists kind of mimic each other actions during this outro bit as things slowly come to an end, with some showmanship by the band, particularly the lead vocalist, who had, at this point has inspired me to start a fan club devoted to her. I really love the quirky, original nature of these guys, and their sound. They're fun, they're refreshing, and the whole package product is really appealing to me. It's a really cool song paired with a stellar performance. So, what's there not to love about this song? This was a great shout by Ian. I know it's recency bias, but I would not be surprised in the least if this makes some sort of collated list later when we go over our favorite songs recommended by other folks. These guys are clearly they're a Mexican band, aren't they? Like I could tell, yeah. If the intro didn't give it away, at the very least, their aesthetic did, and certainly that lead singer, and I'm here for it. I loved it, man.
Excellent. Yeah. Interesting. I'll go through what I know about them. Surprisingly, there's not a lot about them like on the internet, especially Wikipedia. I would hope it's not because they're Mexican, but I think it is. But there you go. So Descartes and Kant is a Mexican rock group from Guadalajara. They're formed in 2001, and they're known as noise rock, punk rock, and experimental rock. They're founded by the lead singer, who's got a really traditional Mexican name, Sandruska Petrova. Um, yeah, founded by her when she was a teenager in the early 2000s. Descartes Camp we were originally an all-female band, and they played at parties in the local scene. They adopted the name from a philosophy book, which contained a chapter titled "From Descartes to Kant," whose opposing philosophical works framed the beginning of the modern era of philosophy, and they wanted to make that an analogy in terms of the contrast and musical styles of the characteristics of the group at the beginning. So yeah. In its early stages, their style was self-defined as bipolar schizoid sound. Interesting genre. By alternating sweet and melodic tonalities with dissonance and strident noises. Their work included influences from noise rock, punk, surf, electronic music, new wave, and jazz, as you probably could hear. Their live performances are usually theatrical performances,
You don't say.
and the group members usually wear specific outfits for this. It's all ticking the boxes of what we've seen. So just a quick little bit. So the band released their first album called Paper Dolls in 2007. Their second album Ilvasore Lunatic in 2012 is a psychological musical thriller. The album was inspired by madness and mental pathologies and gained international recognition, which enabled them to tour for the first time throughout Russia, South America, Europe, Central America, and the States. The next album, Victims of Love Propaganda, in 2017, the band's third studio album, was recorded in Chicago with engineer Steve Albini. Um, it is also a concept album on the concept of Western love and propaganda about happiness. Okay, so I didn't take in all of it because it was just basically this rotating cast of characters going in and out of the band. I mean, more drummers than Spinal Tap. So the current lineup, from what I can make out, is Sandriska Petrova, vocals, guitar, programming. Memo Ibarra, bass, synthesizer, voice, and programming. Anna Christina Mo, guitar, voice, synthesizer. Daphne Carballo, voice, guitar, and violin. See, this is from the album, so it might not have been the performance here. Leo Padua, drums, and Jorge Chavez, drums, percussions, and samplers. I think there's some overlap between those two as into the drum sound. So somewhere in there with the four people you saw. This is the title track from their latest album from 2023, obviously, called After Destruction. And it's a unique concept of a computer-narrated future, blending arc, prog, punk with electronic and visceral guitar elements to explore themes of post-apocalyptic rebuilding with a dark, humorous, and godly optimistic tone, it says here. I found to get a bit more out of the sort of reviews, and there are the ones that are off the beaten track, the new usual sort of All Music, Pitchfork, and ones like that. These are slightly different ones, and there's a bit more information and a bit more feel about it. So I just thought it was a bit more for people who don't know anything about it, like me. So Punk Rock Beat website wrote, the title track, After Destruction, has a driving beat and a guitar sound that avoids the trap of being too thick or grungy. Instead, it's perfectly gritty and melodic. The tune, like the album, has layers and thematic changes that keep the listener guessing as the melodic narrative progresses. There's shades of Radiohead here for sure, in the arrangement and also in the care taken to sculpt new guitar and keyboard sounds that have never been heard before. The album After Destruction is a thematic exploration of computer-guided future with just the right mix of electronics, visceral guitars, and vocal passion. Here it says blog. They wrote quite a detailed thing. It was quite interesting. The new album After Destruction is a concept album of the old school based around an imaginary machine called a DAC, D-A-K, which is also the
All
initials
that
of
on
the
their
band.
emblazoned on their chest, yeah.
So apparently it's also an official member of the band as well, which of course is abbreviation of the band's name. The whole charade is a tongue-in-cheek satire on the often exploitive mental wellness industry, as the album's songs are interspersed with narration by the supposed machine, giving advice on how to be happier and rebuild after a crisis. So suggestions range from eating more ice cream, adopting a puppy, having more sex, and if all else fails, going back to the start of the record and playing it again. And that kind of has little echoes of the bit from OK Computer with Radiohead,
Yeah.
the sort of computer advice there as well. It's interesting. So for this album, there are actually 5 main musical tracks, which together represent 17 minutes, 23 seconds of the total 28:35 length of the album. And this has brought on a degree of criticism from mainstream reviewers with accusations of it padding out an EP's worth of material into an album. But I think they've done it for a reason.
Right.
And the blog here, Harris says there's a well-established tradition of mixing narrative and musical passages, such as Prokofiev's Peter and the Wolf or Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds, both of which have become popular and respected works. After Destruction, the standout song on the record is Real Rock, and they put rock with a capital R. With heavily distorted guitars, sparkly synths, and an almost St. Vincent style guitar break halfway through. Concept albums acquired a rather sorry reputation after the self-indulgence of so many from the early to mid-70s, when they became part of what punk wished to sweep away. Yet there were and still are some good ones which have given a genuine point to make and make it well. After Destruction is one such. The idea of the DAK as a robotic healer with slightly eccentric ideas is an interesting one, which conceals a good deal of somewhat pursed-lipped humour. Couple that with some very impressive music, and you have an album well worth listening to. It's a fascinating record. If you're willing to take on it on its own terms and listen properly, it's a great album. So there you go.
Awesome. I
Lyrics, you
definitely
covered
check
most of
it.
them, but I'll just confirm it. So we are uncertainty, searching for certainty. If the world wants to break, I'll scream. Sob with ecstasy, my dreams left me. If the world wants to break, I'll scream. There will be creation after destruction, you'll see. There will be creation after destruction, you'll see. Instrumental break, as you mentioned. Sob with ecstasy, my dreams left me. If the world wants to break, I'll scream. There will be creation after destruction. There will be creation after destruction. There will be creation after destruction. You'll see. And from phonotonal.com, there's from this about the song. After Destruction is the new album's title track, and it's an urgent fuzz pop delight that sets out the existential theme of the record. What we have here is a psychic discomfort in a compulsively hyper-communicative but emotionally isolated society, all in musical form. This is one of their more accessible songs, so it's a good route into the band. The hi-hat and bass drum intro sets an energetic rhythm for the guitars, with the final line of each verse disrupting the tempo. The chorus is brief and dual-styled, echoing the lyrics of destruction and creation. The solo at the midway point moves us into a synth-led verse and a heavy chorus. The urge to keep the song cycling on repeat is high, as you miss details the first time round. It's a slice of wonderful melodramatic genius. So they liked it. So yeah, I thought this is really interesting. I kind of dig the aesthetics and that sort of Devo, as I said before, and that sort of very new wavy approach to it. I would say honestly, I think this is quite a rich sort of intake, and I would I would have it a few spoonfuls at a time rather than sitting down for a whole like half hour or an hour listening to this. It would be a little bit, but really,
Maybe,
really interesting, enjoyable, in small
maybe
chunks.
I was gonna say maybe they took that into consideration when they created the album, and thus you're
Yeah,
left
yeah,
with only so much music. Really, it's not a lot. What did you say it was about 30 minutes in total with
yeah.
and that's got like
28, I think it is, and 17 of which is music. But thinking about that, I mean, okay, we haven't got much time left. But I was going to say, hip hop, particularly in the 90s, used to have like skits in between songs, and
yeah,
no one sort of raised it. That was traditional, a new tradition back then. So,
yeah,
fair enough. I don't mind that idea. I'd have to listen to it to make a judgment. But I don't mind the concept at all. Um, anyway, I shall wrap things up
great
and
shout,
say,
Ian.
yeah, really good chat and very interesting as well. Um, and I'm pretty sure he chose this video, so it was a great, performance and the high standard of KEXP as usual. So
Yeah,
yeah, folks out there, tell us what you think. If you like this, please do hit the like button and drop some comments. We'd love to hear what you think about this band and this song performance and anything else you know about the Happy Chappies and Descartes at Kant. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. We appreciate everybody who does support the channel, helps us move onwards and upwards. And if you too have a track that you want us to listen to, please just drop a comment in any of our episodes and we'll add it to the list. The list, the list. And at some point in the fullness of time, it will be considered. And that being said, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see all of you on the next episode of The Audiophiles.
see you later, guys.